Hello, Cancer. Welcome to your July and August 2025 reading. I'm Nicholas Ashbaugh. It's great to see you. This is going to, again, get you through the next 2 months. You could use it for Sun, Rising, Moon, and Venus. Apollo is behind us, napping away, but listening nonetheless, so we're going to leave him be. And we have a lot to talk about in channeled messages. This morning, I got up early and needed just a little bit more rest, and I thought, perfect, let's tune into Cancer. And here's what I got while I was sleeping. I can lucid dream, which means that I know that I'm dreaming and I pay attention to the details. And then when I get up, I write it down. So what I was picking up on was my guide showed me a spine and kind of like an alignment of the spine. And then they showed me like someone's head and they were gently pushing it in that direction. And then I got a tap on the shoulder to wake up and get to work. So I thought about this quite a bit. Of course, we can take it at a sort of literal meaning, which is just pay attention to the alignment of your spine. So I have like a really good chair that I work with here that helps keep my lower back supported. You want to look at something like that if you spend a lot of time seated. You might also want to make sure that you're stretching and taking care of your spine. So that's a very clear thing. Another area that we don't always think about is our neck. And so pay attention to your pillow when you're sleeping and make sure that that's giving you the support that you need here as well. Now, we can abstract all of this and look at it at a sort of much higher level. So this sort of pushing of the head in one direction. This reminds me of Four of Cups. In the Four of Cups, we see someone that's kind of sitting there looking at what's in front of them, and there's an ace floating right by their head. Spirit's trying to get you to see a hidden blessing. There's something that's within reach. There's something that might make the situation easier, but it requires a shift of perspective. So that was the first piece to the sort of abstracted level of this. The other one is to look and see if you're aligned. See if something that you're doing is aligned to your higher purpose, to your goals, to your dreams, to your thoughts. So the alignment and the positioning that they were showing me, of course, can be the body, but it can also be the energy. Particularly when we're looking at your voice, because if I look at the throat and kind of like where they were changing the position, it would be like the throat, yeah. Is it your voice? Is it your vision? And as long as it is, then you are exactly where you need to be. But if it isn't, then it might be time to pivot and move into something new. When we take a look at this 60-day layout, I'll keep an eye out for anything that might represent either, like if we have a blindfolded card like the 2 or the 8 of Swords, or if we have a perspective shifting card like the 4 of Cups or the 5 of Cups, we'll definitely look at those. And we'll just take it step by step. But those are some things that just come to mind. Keep an open heart, keep an open mind, and stay aligned to what feels right for you. Let's get started. Take a moment, please, and clear your mind. Allow yourself to take a nice deep breath. On the exhale, let go of anything that no longer serves you and imagine that you're surrounded in a circle of light. In this circle, let's call in angels, spirit guides, and ascended masters. And let's begin. Let's begin with the catalyst. We have a quest here and it's reversed, and the immediate thing that came through is don't get sidetracked. So many of us have a goal, have a dream, have a vision, but it is so easy for a myriad of things to come through and distract or even detract from our ability to move forward. This is a month to realign yourself to the goal, to the passion, to whatever it is that you're trying to do. And also, I talked to the previous sign about this because literally there was a card about forgiveness. But give yourself a little bit of slack. Forgive yourself if you were distracted. You tuned in today. You have 60 days to bring all of this into focus. And it's all right if you had to sort of deal with something, on the sidelines. But now it's important to start to turn the tide, to turn the sort of wheel in the right direction. And that's the first thing that comes through. Some of you might also be at a point where you finished something and it feels a little anticlimactic or confusing after that because maybe there wasn't a thought process of what comes beyond that. I can think of many instances in my own life where I really worked hard for a single goal. Once it happened, I thought, oh, now we're in uncharted territory. Here's the cool thing. This card is telling you that can be an adventure. And if you kind of look at it from that perspective, I think that's the difference between people that can embrace change and ambiguity and then people that get really uncomfortable. See it as a blank page of possibilities, but no pressure. Each day you get to sketch in a little bit more. If you need to, erase a little bit and try something else, that's part of the process. Now it's time to get back on track, to realign, and not to be distracted. Very powerful first message. All right, let me just kind of get you familiar with how this spread works because it's new. So to my left here is all of the July energy. To the right is August. We have special cards anchoring it. So this is karmically what's coming through. This is the destiny. Then we have past, present, and future in both months, a connector, and a block. These are summary cards as well. All right, now that you know what we're looking at, let's begin with karma. I actually love that the Three of Cups is here. This is really good at calling in new relationships and connections. So one of your biggest strengths can be the friends that you know, the professional peers that are in your network, and maybe just your ability to strike up a conversation with someone new. If this isn't in your wheelhouse, if this isn't something that you do all the time, you're being encouraged to do so because that casual interaction can actually help build up new and important sort of like relationships and connections. Have you ever noticed that whenever you're working on something but it's fun, or whenever you've been in a place of employment but everybody's just kind of like family, it doesn't feel as difficult. You're still putting in the same effort, but the fun factor isn't to be underestimated. It actually helps quite a bit. So sprinkle in some enjoyment in your life, prioritize the relationships, both historically and then the new ones that you're forging. People are going to basically be the magic sauce that make or break your success over this 2-month period. There may also be someone new that has come into your life, whether it's a friend or love interest or a close family member. We see this newfound connection that can both lift you up, but could also distract you. So one of the things is we want to avoid getting sidetracked. You want to be able to focus on your stuff and encourage the other person to do the same. So this can also be socializing, which I love, but with respect to catalyst energy, there's a time and a place, and we want to make sure that we're staying focused. All right, let's take a look at the first card here for the month of July, representing past influences, and we have the Queen of Pentacles. This is basically affirmation, confirmation that many of you have done the work. You've been working hard on personal development, possibly going to school, learning something new. Maybe some of you are also putting increased focus on understanding finances or really getting organized, particularly in the home or in business. Everything seems to be very grounded here as we're starting the month off. And when it comes to the quest or the journey, for some of you, it's about protecting that financial foundation and, again, continuing to grow professionally and personally. This is a great period of time to continue anything in this area. Again, even if it's not there yet, we're seeing here with the 3 cards on the table, Queen of Pentacles, 9 of Pentacles, and the Emperor, that you have a chance to set down a brand new foundation upon which something stronger can be built. So if you've ever had any sort of uncertainty or discomfort with respect to money in particular, this is a great time to put together that budget. We can also look at this from the perspective of like scheduling and time and energy resources too. Make sure that you have a handle on it and don't be afraid to speak up. That's the first big takeaway. Just an interesting note as I'm looking at the 2 months together. This is a very grounded, very fruitful period, and I see a lot of change and movement happening in August. And it could be change for the better. We'll get into that in a moment. But if you were looking for a period of time to make an announcement, to launch something, or to set it into motion, I would say the beginning to middle of the month are perfect, but really the entirety of the month is looking amazing. The birthing energy, though, is very much intrinsic to the Queen of Pentacles, so the first 15 days are magical. All right, as we look at the middle of the month, what's presenting itself? So in July, we have 9 of Pentacles, which is independent, which is sustainable, and it's also a little slower than you might want, but sometimes slower is better. Missing from this card is the little snail on it, the snail representing one little step at a time. Anything worth doing is worth doing well at the beginning, the first time, so take that into consideration this month. I love the fierce independence of this card. It is the biggest strength, but it can also be one of the potential pitfalls of the 9 of Pentacles, because as we look at the karma here, there might be power in the sort of like connections with others, bringing an outside influence in so that you don't kind of get too razor focused. Take a moment or two to come up for air. And while you're doing that, celebrate success, spend time with the people that you love, maybe get some external influence and insights on what you're doing as well, because that could help you get to the finish line faster. 9s always represent hard work or a job well done. They also represent sometimes a little bit of fatigue or impatience. So I just want to reiterate that whatever you've been doing, I can see the progress, even if to you it feels like that little snail. Okay? So take it easy, keep focusing, and keep up the good work. I see a very interesting pattern developing here. This card, Queen of Pentacles, is really good at taking care of other people, really good at setting things into motion. She doesn't always want to step into the spotlight, though. 9 of Pentacles usually works behind the scenes, very sort of, rolling up of the sleeves and getting stuff done, but not necessarily stepping into the spotlight. The Emperor steps into the spotlight. This month, you have a chance to be recognized for who you are, what you bring to the equation, for all of the hard work that clearly you've done. It feels like some people may want to call you into some of these situations where you may speak up. They want to hear your thoughts, your vision. This card is also a reality check from the universe to just stay accountable. If you've made a mistake, own up to it, apologize, and do better. And that's it. Good leaders do that. We don't see a lot of it anymore. We see a lot of people that deflect, that won't admit to their mistakes, that point a finger and blame someone else. You can establish yourself as the kind leader that you are by simply leading with integrity, accountability, and maturity. And that's things that we don't always talk about with the Emperor. It doesn't just come with age, but it often does. But you may be way ahead of other people in your same peer group or age group. I'm getting a lot of maturity and a lot of wisdom. Lean into it. This can be peer pressure or gossip. We want to avoid that this month. It can be fun to be in that energy, but it is also self-destructive and it can be detrimental to other people. So gossip, you want to avoid it this month. It isn't going to help. There's no other way to put it. And it usually gets back to whomever you might be talking about. You don't want to be a part of that. If anything, you want to stand firm and say something like, I don't feel comfortable. We shouldn't be talking about this. Stop. And then walk away if you need to. You don't have to argue. Let them gossip if they want to. But you don't want to be a party to that. Lead by example. Lead with integrity. Lead with wisdom. And if you wanted to launch something, you are poised for success anytime this month. There's not a really perfect time. I'm looking at the beginning of the month as developmental. You could also birth it then, since this is divine feminine. I think the middle of the month is more sort of like pedal to the metal. You're going to be doing a lot of work. It's very productive. But beginning and end are equally as good. So from the 1st to the 15th or at the very end of the month, if you wanted to launch something or step into the spotlight. Interestingly enough, I just noticed it now because it's a very different interpretation. What did I say? 4 of Cups energy. So here we have Spirit in the form of a mermaid offering up a 4th cup, and we have this little kid looking only at the 3 cups in front of him. This is a hidden blessing. That is the 4 of Cups, or an opportunity that you're not looking at because your emotions are weighing you down or creating these potential blindfolds. So we got a significator here, exactly what I was talking about. It's better than you think. The opportunities are knocking. You have more potential than you might be giving yourself. And overall, were it not for this, I would be like, this is a fantastic month. And it still is. But this is a perspective shift. Sometimes this is you comparing yourself to brother, sister, best friend, parent, teacher, someone else in your life that you care about. but they've got something that you don't, or you perceive that you don't have, and you're like, I want that. Why am I not there yet? Your path is your own. Their path is their own. You don't know what else is going on. The grass always seems greener, but isn't always on the other side. So enjoy your path, your life. Don't get sidetracked by that comparison. There's nothing good that really comes out of doing that other than you're kind of beating yourself up. When you start to imagine that maybe there's something else, maybe this could be easier, I'm open to receive. Those 4 words are powerful because you're telling the universe that you're not stuck. And just the feeling, just the belief that something could happen. There's a line in a Kate Bush song, Cloud Busting, and she says, even just saying it could make it happen. Yes, you're speaking it, but thinking it and saying it, you've opened up that portal, you've opened up the door. So believe in the potential. I believe something better is on the horizon, and this is a great month if you're willing to see it. And if you're willing to step out of your comfort zone, there's definitely that piece. Let's move on now to the connection between the 2 months. As we look at the connection here, we have 4 of Swords in reverse. Let's pull the card upright and also compare it to the original illustration. So on one side here, we have Rider-Waite-Smith, then we have this new interpretation. In the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, someone is peacefully at rest. Literally, this is a sepulcher or a coffin, and something's been put to rest, and there is this new energy, that ace beneath it, that comes when you allow yourself time to recalibrate and to release or let go something from the past. She's running on empty. She's ostensibly sleepwalking. She hasn't given herself enough time to rest. And so what happens sometimes when we're in the fight or flight mode, or we're stressed out, if you haven't slept, what happens is your mental capacity is diminished. You have a shorter fuse. You have less ability to access language and a higher level of thinking. You're operating more on the sort of like basic part of the human brain, which is more fight or flight. And therefore you make decisions on emotions or instinct rather than the higher learning. We need a combination of the both. Rest. Give yourself rest. Don't push to a diminishing return. Don't push to a point where either your temper or your health or your decision-making is compromised. We don't want any of that to happen, okay? Slow it down a little bit, pump the brakes, take care of yourself. That will allow you to successfully navigate some of the challenges that are going to happen in the next month. Let's look at what might block you. The connection already has a little bit of that potential block, but now we have a second thing that could constitute a little bit of a hiccup, and that is overthinking or stubbornness. We love the Knight of Wands. He is able to imagine new things. He is creative. He takes something amazing and sees it through. So I love the imaginative and the intuitive part of the Knight. But when the Knight of Wands is reversed, he can hold a belief so strongly that it blinds him from other options. It may blind him to where else he could walk or go. And we don't want that. So be open. Keep an open heart, an open mind, an open third eye, because guess what? Our actual senses can deceive us sometimes. Something can seem like it glitters, but all that glitters isn't gold, right? So we want to go beneath the surface. We want to put ourselves out of our comfort zone a little bit. And if somebody suggests something that you're not sure of immediately, just say, thanks, I'll take it into consideration. And then legitimately sleep on it and think about it for a day or 2 or a week. Don't just have it be lip service, but literally think about something and say, is there validity to that? I didn't want to hear it. Is that emotion that I'm feeling because I need to look at it? Or is it just me getting upset because someone else is just complaining? Get to the root of it, then figure out if you want to move forward. Stay open-minded, be stubborn where you need to, but not 24/7, okay? And if you need to take a step back and think to yourself, does this align with my vision? That's also what I saw in Dreams and Meditation. Please do that. Because sometimes we just go forward, and I've talked about this a couple of times to a couple of signs this month, but it bears repetition. Sometimes we move blindly forward because it's like sleepwalking. That's a better word. We are sleepwalking through our lives because it's just what's familiar. If anything, I see like the wake-up call happening somewhere between July and August. It's like the alarm goes off, you're awake, you're aware, and if you tune into that moment, you can leapfrog into something really exciting. If you hit snooze, then we start to see some of the stuff coming through here. So all of this, and even avoiding getting sidetracked, will help you from this. Now let's talk about the next month. We're going to look at August. Coming through with the devil reversed first. I actually like the way that this is illustrated here. So it's called the shadow side, and that's really all that devil energy represents. Let's talk about the devil in everyday life. The devil can represent a contract where something is asked that isn't fair or it's unevenly weighted. And if you are presented with a contract that asks you to give more than you should, or if you're taking more than the other person is and it's not even, don't do it. It's clear. A devil can represent a person that can't give you what you want. So let's say you want to date someone, but they're still attached to someone else. You're not going to get what you need out of that. There's always going to be chaos. We don't need chaos. The devil can also be a person that refuses to listen or take accountability. And we talked about how you're leading by example. If you emanate enough of that energy, you may leapfrog over this. This is avoidable. It's a past influence. So if you continue to work on integrity, if you rest yourself, if you keep an open mind, if you stay on the path that you're supposed to, you'll be fine. This can also just be temptation. Someone that's trying to get you to do something that you know is wrong. Temptation can come from people that are close to you. Be mindful of that. Say no. Go in your own direction. It's almost like the moon card in tarot where the temptation can be the wolf and the dog. The wolf representing something where it's kind of like they're hunting, they're wanting to do what they want to do, and at any cost they'll make it happen. And the other one, which is kind of representing what you're trained to do. You have to avoid both of those sort of things and move down your own path, okay? You see it before it happens. Trust your instincts, folks. You can't win in this contract, and you don't want to deal with this kind of energy. So that's really all I need to say on that. When you get that feeling, I want you to move beyond it or address it. It is in the past. If we were going to get the devil, I always say it should be a past influence, not a present one. Here you have actually a fantastic present influence in the form of the Fool. Just walk away. Sometimes the best thing that you can do is to cut your losses and walk away. You don't want to spar with the devil unless absolutely necessary. But it takes like Archangel Michael energy, and that isn't always necessary. If it's not your fight to fight, don't fight it. The best thing to do is sometimes to get another person to come in like a lawyer if there's a contractual issue and just say, have the lawyers sort it out. Okay, moving forward. Let's now take a look at these 2 months here. This is why I think it's better to launch or wrap things up and tie it up with a neat bow in July, because at the beginning of August, there might be something out of your control. This can also just be control. So there could be someone in your life that needs your help. There could be something going on environmentally that makes you move or move on, and you want all of this done. So let July be the month where you work. Let August be the month where you transition, move, and explore new things. So the Fool reminds you that it doesn't have to be perfect. You just have to take iterative steps towards something new. And when you step into something unfamiliar or unknown, it's natural to feel a little discombobulated. Each day is a clean slate. Explore it, have some fun, and try not to take it too seriously. This is especially true if you're learning something new, a skill, a language, a job. If you can approach it with this feeling of, wow, this is it's a pleasure and a privilege to be able to expand my mind and try something different, you're going to pick up that skill a lot faster. Some of you just want to travel. You might have, if you're in that Four of Swords reverse energy, you might just need a break, a trip, a vacation. You might need to pull back a little bit on your schedule, work smarter, not harder. But if you can take a break, okay? There could be something new coming into your life. This could be the birth of a child. This could be the arrival of somebody brand new. And the interesting thing here is it feels like an upgrade. This is something that you need to release. This is something better, okay? So far I like what I'm seeing, even though we don't have a lot of challenging cards, but we definitely got one of the bigger ones here at the beginning of August. Thankfully, towards the end here, it's starting to look much better. In your future influence, we have the Ace of Wands in reverse. So Ace of Wands is an idea, passion, a light bulb. And we see here that it could be really transformative because we have that beautiful butterfly. But something is lacking. It could be that you're exhausted and vitality is missing here and you're like, I want to do it, but I'm exhausted. Take the break. Step back a little bit. Also, don't overthink it. The Fool has an easy come, easy go sort of energy. This in reverse is almost anchored down, and it's worrying so much about how much it's going to take that you're not even taking any steps. So in this situation, it might be better to get someone to come in and work with you because that makes it easier. It makes it feel less intense. This is going to help you. It connects with the initial card. So the Devil plus the Fool plus the Ace of Wands is saying, if you don't feel the connection, especially in a relationship, but also in a job or anything in your life, walk in the other direction. Don't go into something when you have to convince yourself. When there's a line in the movie While You Were Sleeping where she's in love with this guy that's in a coma, and then when he wakes up, he's not in love with her, but everyone else is. And I think he says something like, my mother loves you, my father loves you, my sister loves you, I might as well love you. That is not the proposal that you want, because it's like, but you don't, but you're talking yourself into it. And she ends up loving someone else. And you have to sometimes go through that farce of, putting yourself into a situation where it's like, yeah, this isn't it. What am I doing? So don't do it. I'm showing you that the outcome here will be less than optimal. If at the beginning you think to yourself, I'm not feeling it. I should be feeling it. Maybe if I try hard enough, I'll feel a different way. No, you won't. You can't convince your heart to feel something. A Bonnie Raitt song, I can't make you love me if you don't. Profounder words have never been said. More profound words, rather, have never been said. You can't force emotions, within or externally. You feel it or you don't. Let that be your compass. Let that be what liberates you from the energy of the Devil that we see here. Let's see what the big takeaway here is. It's pretty good, actually, and this is going to be very helpful in these two instances. So as we're looking at the takeaway for August, we have using your voice, walking the walk and talking the talk. Queen of Swords is one of the most powerful minor arcana court cards. She's fierce. She can represent legal action too. But basically, she gets in and out of a situation. She says what she needs to say. She doesn't mince words. Usually her timing is good when she's upright. And I think you need to just trust in that. When something is wrong, say it. If you need to fix something, fix it. If you don't like something, don't do it. Don't overthink. Be the Queen of Swords. And then also cutting through the nonsense. She will just cut through all of it and say, you're really talking about this, aren't you? In a way that it doesn't have to be confrontational, rather. It can be non-confrontational. She's just cutting to the point and saying, I hear what you're asking, but is it really this? I just heard a car behind me. So it's almost like that. She's hitting the brakes and she's just saying, let's get real. Be real with yourself, be real with others. That's going to help you in the long run. Let's go ahead now and look at what this entire period is about. Clarification. So as we look at the destiny, I had to think for a second, we have Seven of Cups. Seven of Cups can indicate sometimes confusion. We don't want for the confusion to be a part of this. Sometimes what happens is we're so worried about what everyone else thinks that we forget about what we think or what we want. So focus on what you want. This is also a call to get back to the energy of envisioning, like daydreaming, dreaming, thinking to yourself, gosh, I really want to try this. I would love for you to set up some time, anytime over the next 60 days, to strategize and dream. What else can I do? I'd like to take a trip here. I'd like to learn how to do this. I'd like to get to know that person. Maybe I want to go back to school. Whatever it is, put together a bucket list and figure out who you are and what you stand for. When you know what it is that you want, the universe can show you that. When you don't, it's kind of like playing lottery. Maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. There's a lot that you're putting to chance. Be the driver in your own sort of life, and that is going to make it a much more enjoyable trip. Knowing where you're going is necessary to not get sidetracked. All right, we're going to go a little bit deeper into health, wealth, and love. Let me go ahead and grab the cards here, and we'll see what's coming forth, and then I'll break it down. Health, wealth, and love. All right, we're going to start off with the energy of health, which is your mind, your body, and your spirit. So we have the Two of Cups coming through here. Partnerships are actually going to be very advantageous. Make sure that you feel this energy in, especially when we're looking at a doctor or a counselor or a therapist. You want to feel like they have your back, that they're listening to you heart to heart, eye to eye. They know you. If you don't feel that level of advocacy in relationships, particularly those sort of professional and medical relationships, you need to find a better advocate, right? In your own life, love, family, and friendship is going to help you feel healthier, be happier, and be able to be stronger in all aspects of your life. All right, let's map this out from a health perspective over the next 2 months. For the next 30 days in July, have some fun, but everything in moderation. If you're feeling overwhelmed, particularly when it comes to emotions or just strategy, talking to a counselor, whether it's career counselor or a therapist, could be very advantageous. When we're looking at avoiding excess, this could be both in, well, any vice really, drinking, eating, but also working. We don't always consider workaholic energy as a type of vice, but it can be. This is also a very static card, so movement is key. We see it coming into play in August in particular, but there's a lot of stationary energy here, so making sure that you're getting ample movement in your body and in your life. Sleep, quality and quantity is both important. If anything is lacking, it could just be your own habits, but if you change the habits and that's not working, then obviously work with your doctor. Some of you might just be bored, and boredom comes from familiarity, so changing it up could be really good. All right, so the shadow side, aka the devil, and the Three of Cups can be a temptation, but it's coming from a person in your life. So one of the ways that you can stay on the straight and narrow path is to avoid someone that has poor habits or tempts you into doing something that you've overcome. So if you're sober, for instance, and someone isn't, and they don't respect boundaries, you're going to not hang out with them over this 60-day period because you have to protect your own health. That's one example. The other thing here is the ability to just walk away from situations and environments that are toxic, because the devil, it isn't something we have to experience. The fool right afterwards is just saying, I don't want to do it. So I really encourage you to have boundaries and walk away if necessary. Concentration might be challenging for some of you, and it really does lead back to either a toxic environment or a lack of sleep. So try getting more rest, try walking away and clearing your mind and seeing if that helps, okay? These are the main issues that showed up this month. Most of them are very, very manageable. With all of the Cups energy, emotions, and also substances, I will say it, like it can be caffeine too. And caffeine, nicotine, alcohol are coming through too as vices that could get in the way of you moving forward. So we just don't want that. They seem like they help, but they don't. They hinder more in the long run. All right. That's a fairly manageable and complete map of the next 60 days. So why don't we move forward from your health to your wealth, which is resources, life, purpose, and career. We have the Page of Wands coming forth, a fairly good card. So pages are very good at communicating. Page of Wands rather, is very good at showing. And so someone in your life may react more favorably if you're able to point to an example, to demonstrate, to illustrate, to use a different way to communicate other than just words or figures. So take that as you will, but sometimes people need a chance to see it, hear it, or feel it. And if you can help them, that's going to help you make your point and get what you need when it comes to wealth. And you may also be looking for some inspiration, feeling the passion. This is an answer to that reversed Ace of Wands. You either feel it or you don't. All right, we're going to break this down into a few major categories. If you currently have a job, here's what I see. In the month of July, it's great. By and large, it's pretty good. You may be feeling a little out of sorts. Maybe you're starting to feel some of this fatigue. Maybe you want to go in a different direction. But take your time to finish everything that you've started. And if you do want to pivot in the long run, make sure that you've sorted out what the next steps are. You want a safety net before you just leap into the unknown. But I love the energy of July. Stepping into a spotlight position could be a little challenging, but you are set up for success, okay? Again, I'm going to underline avoid gossip because something said in July could come back and haunt you in August. Things that you want to focus on, again, ample rest, keeping an open mind, not getting sidetracked. If someone tries to smooth talk a situation, getting into a situation like, oh, this isn't going to be that hard, but your intuition tells you, yes, it will. It's going to take more resources, more time, etc. You can just say, I'm not ready to commit to that. I think we need to look into this some more. I can't say yes today. Buy yourself time. Get someone else to take a look at it. Ask them if they've done their work. Use your Queen of Swords energy. She gets curious, she gets clear, and cuts through some of the ambiguity. Because I do feel like there could be a smokescreen and someone trying to push their garbage in your direction, and you're going to kindly say, I don't think so. For everyone else here, I just feel like not getting yourself into, like, not over-promising can also be something to be mindful of. So know your limits and stick to them. Okay, let's move on to entrepreneurs. Here's a couple of things that I'm seeing for entrepreneurs. I actually love what's coming through with Three of Cups. This can be good customer feedback, good word of mouth. Do what you can to bubble that up so others can see it. I think July is going to be a fruitful month. There's a lot of really positive energy here. So stick to the path at hand. Save some money if you can. Be smart about this, because what I see coming through in August is an unexpected twist or turn. Something new could be added to your plate. You may be asked to move quickly on something. You may need to access some of these resources. As long as you stay, hardworking through July, August is going to be much more easy to deal with because you've done the work, you've laid the foundation. Don't ignore something or someone. They may pop up and be more of a problem than you might imagine. Better to deal with it in real time. Asking questions is so important, and getting legal acumen and expertise, having someone look at something before it gets more complicated, also really valuable and important. Confusion is normal. Like if something is like at the beginning, I shouldn't say it's something that you want to have all the time, but the first time you look at something, it's okay to be a little overwhelmed. If you're constantly in that state, that speaks more to the fact that the universe is trying to push you in a new direction. For entrepreneurs especially, if you don't feel aligned, we're talking about that alignment that I saw in dreams, don't do it. Walk the other way. I really feel like there might be a contract, a project, or a person that crosses your path, and it's better not to engage. If something went wrong, this is more like PR, you have to be accountable and fix it. It happens. Sometimes something gets messed up in production. Sometimes communication is wrong. You fix it, you address it, you make good on it. That's all that you can do. And if people have questions, you answer. So there might be a little bit of mop up or cleanup to do, but that's part of running a business. Lead by example here, okay? For job seekers, some interesting things here. I feel like it's easier in July. Please do as many sort of networking events as possible. What is going to land you the job in July is experience and wisdom. There may be a little bit of ageism for a job, and it could hit either way. Someone may look at you and think you're too young or you're too old, or you have too little or too much experience. It's going to be up to you, if you really want something, to let them know that that's not the case. And especially if it feels like it's wrong, legitimately, ageism isn't allowed in most places, then you might want to address that. So that's one thing that I'm seeing here as a potential block, but you have an ability to get something. You may actually be overqualified for it. It's a matter of if that's okay with you. It feels like the pay is okay. I like what I'm seeing here. There's something around age, wisdom, or qualification that's in your favor, but they may be worried that you're going to not stay. So maybe you want to tell them, I'm not looking for leveling up. I want a place where I can just enjoy and contribute. That's okay. There are people that want that, and they'll be like, oh, great. Okay, then we can slot you in. Something around that is coming forth. August is interesting. Couple things. If there's a contract in front of you that doesn't look right, get that in front of a lawyer. Say no. If someone does something shady and they're doing it now, you know that's going to pop up later. That should be enough to just say, no, thank you. You may be stepping into, because the Fool is literally stepping into the shadow. So you may be stepping into a sticky situation. Ask questions. Like maybe someone hasn't been in that job for a while. Maybe the last person that was there quit and left them in a bit of a sticky situation where you're going to have to clean up the mess. If that's the case, you deserve more compensation, and you want to make sure that you know what you're getting into, okay? I think there's one thing that you probably want to walk away from. There's another one where it feels like there's not as much passion, but it could work out okay. Again, interesting things. I actually prefer the energy of July, where it might be that you're overqualified, but it's easy. This one, it's more than meets the eye, and you have to figure out what that is. And there's another one that's okay, but it's just maybe not what your passion is. And because Spirit said don't get sidetracked, this feels like it's more in alignment. I think both of these months, if you land something, it feels more like it's a stepping stone, as long as you're strategic. And that's really what this is about. What is the long-term goal? How does this slot into the big picture? All right, let's take a look at students. I feel like July is fantastic. The perfect mix of working hard, spending time with people that you like. There could be a little bit of questions about what's next. That's natural. Talk to your advisor on that. But overall, I really like July. August is interesting. One thing that I want to encourage you not to do is overextend yourself. So whether it's extracurricular activities, signing up for a program or class that you don't feel good about, ask some questions. Make sure that this is right for you. Don't jump into anything. If you're waiting to hear back, maybe there's a class, internship, program, a wait list, etc., and you have a choice, and there's something really good here, and this is just wasting your time, go for the really good option. This could block something that's already lined up. So a wait list comes to mind. Just take this choice and then sign up for it next semester. Something about this, it's not the right time. So if someone contacts you later and it works, great, but don't sacrifice a given good opportunity for something that's kind of flaky and maybe, because it feels like this person is vetting their options and they just want the best. They don't want the best for you. And I want the best for you. And I want someone that wants you. So again, it could be an internship, a wait list, some sort of an opportunity, extracurricular. It's not worth the toil. When you're ready, when they're ready, it'll all align. Take some time to step back. This was a busy and productive month. I do see here a tendency to just get straight into something else, and I feel like you need a buffer. You need a buffer before you start up again. Clear your mind, clear your energy, take a break or a vacation. If you have the capacity to do so, it will help you out. A lot of energy around writing. I don't know if you're thinking of taking some classes, whether it's creative writing, a new language, can even be like a programming language, but this is communication or languages. So take a look at how that might factor into the next semester, particularly as you're looking at what you want to do in August. All right, retirees. Again, we're loving everything around July. This is a very matriarchal, patriarchal card, so you may be at the center of family functions. You may be leaning a lot into a role of being an advisor, a parent, a friend. There are ample social opportunities. It's a busy month. You need a break. And as we look at August, you want to walk away from some of that, and I don't blame you. This is a time for personal development. This is a time to do whatever the heck you want, and it's also a time to clear yourself of some of this. During this period of time, if someone comes in and wants to dump the garbage on you, emotional garbage, asking you too much, trying to get you to work or do something that you don't want to do, step back. You can do it way in advance of this and just say, I can't help you with that. Sorry. That's it. Have your boundaries. Really important. Okay? And then you're really wanting to open up to something new. What else can I put my time and energy into? Don't fake it. At this point in your life, you've done enough of that in your working career that if you're putting time and energy into things, there should be a return on it. It should be inspiring. It should open up your curiosity. And it feels like you want to do some talking too. So there should be something where people want to interact with you a little bit more. So walk into this, walk away from some of the heavy energy that you might be sort of gathering from others in your life. Now let's look at relationships. And we have one of the best minor arcana cards here, the Four of Wands, perfectly primed for relationships. It did come through reverse, but often this represents a core partnership in your life, a best friend, a lover, someone that you want to even enter into business with, but there is the promise of stability, fidelity, trust. Don't rush that kind of a relationship. It takes time to build up to that. When it happens, you just know. Now, I will say this. If I think back in my life, I have a handful of people that I would consider best friends, and they hit at different areas of my life, like when I was in middle and high school, when I was in college, when I was working. So I maybe have like 4 people in my life that are just amazing. And upon the first meeting, I knew there was something special. And it was very similar to what you would feel when you meet a lover, but it was like, oh, we're kin, we're connected, we're soulmates, right, on some level. So it can be any of the categories, including love. In love, you also get the butterflies or your heart skips a beat. In friendship, it's just like, oh, where have you been, bestie? So I feel like you could be calling that in or building that up. So there's the recognition, which I was talking about. Even when I recognized it, I knew it might take a little bit of building up. So you just keep showing up. You keep testing the waters. We have the Fool here. You take a step at a time. It's like a dance. Sometimes they lead. Sometimes you lead. And eventually, you both step under the Four of Wands. So I see a beautiful dance towards partnership this month. Let's see how it factors out in the different categories. If you're partnered, this is the end game. This is the eventual hopeful place that you want to be. Are there some challenges? Sure. Let me walk through it. Okay. I'm going to read it in 2 different concepts. It's been hitting a lot because I'm looking at 2 months, and I see more over 2 months. You may be partnered but not married or not exclusive. If you're not there yet, I feel the sense of commitment, but fear of making it legal or real. So the Three of Cups is very much a dating card. The Devil is a fear of losing control. The Fool is no strings attached. And if you push it too much and give an ultimatum, I think someone may walk away. Does that mean you should settle for less? Absolutely not. What you need to decide over the course of these 2 months is, what do you want? What do you need? And really look at them with all of your senses, but especially the third eye, and just think, are they going to get there? And do I want to push them? And do we even need to have this conversation? Because you could do something different in this situation, which is, I know I'm looking for more. Feels like I'm looking for more than you can give right now. When you're ready, you know where to find me. I need to focus on something else. I'm looking for this. You didn't give them an ultimatum. You've told them what they need when and if they're ready. And you're saying, I'm willing to go out and look for what I need. If and when they're ready to show up, perhaps they will, but I don't see it immediately. So I just want to be real. I'm always going to be real. And I don't think you should force someone into doing something. That's the inverse of the Devil, is just give them their freedom. Give yourself your freedom, because it feels like you might want more. And if you're being pushed into something and you want the liberation, maybe because you've been divorced and you don't want to kind of like make it that formal again, then be honest with yourself and with them, okay? Honesty is your best sort of like approach here. All right. For those that are partnered and married and committed, it's a completely different read. So let's talk. So here's what I see. There's going to be a lot of social activities on the calendar for many of you this month. So finding a way to balance it out and not lose track of each other is key. I like that these 2 people are looking at each other. This bodes well. I love that we have this connecting energy. No matter how things end up this month, we have friendship and fidelity at the core of it, which is good. There might be something out of your control. There could be a person in the family, this can be an in-law or an ex, that tries to insert themselves. And in this situation, it's really important to have boundaries and say, you're not welcome here. This is none of your business. So it's important for both partners to be in alignment on that. So that's one thing. There could also just be a health situation that pops up out of nowhere and it's out of your control. So you just want to be honest and communicative with each other. What I like, your partner's thinking about you here with the Seven of Cups, but they may be confounded sometimes by like, why are you saying that or why did you do that? So really taking some time to listen to each other and make sure that emotionally, intellectually, that you're on the same page. That's the key thing. There could be an argument over nothing. So clear, concise communication is everything. And starting out with this, you're my best friend. I love you. I want to understand what's going on here so I can help you. Or I don't like this, but we're best friends, so I know we can work this out. How did we get here? Like starting with that kind of energy instead of pointing fingers is going to be really effective. I'm not a psychologist, just calling it as I see it in the cards. Okay. If you're single and looking, can you find love? Yeah, July looks better, actually. We have a card here with courtship. We have options, a Queen of Pentacles. We have an Emperor. They could be two separate people. It could also be someone who's a little older, a little wiser coming through that could be an earth sign. As we take a look at August, slightly more complicated. This could be a Capricorn, but it could also be an air sign that just isn't ready to give you what you want. And per my original conversation with those that are partnered but not married, I think it's better sometimes to just walk away from someone who isn't on the same page. It is like not sometimes, it's just better, full stop, because you can't change someone until they're ready to change. Also, someone may be hiding a little bit, not telling you everything about their life, so get to know them, ask questions. I like the energy of July better. I think August you could focus more on healing, personal development, travel, anything else. That's my advice. All right, if you're single and happy, good for you. Here's what I see for you. You have a great ability in July to network, to launch projects, to focus on personal development. August is a month where you need to take a step back. It's a good time for vacationing. It's a great time to develop something. Don't push yourself too hard and walk away from people, places, and activities that are toxic or problematic, or fix them. But you can't kind of let this sit and fester. That's the main advice. Okay. And that, my friends, is everything. We have one final question and card for you. It can be anything that you still need some clarity on. So go ahead and formulate that question. We'll give the cards a shuffle and we'll see what Spirit has to say with your last card. All right. So to whatever your question might be, the High Priest or the Hierophant in reverse would be a nuanced card. If you're asking me yes or no, I would ask you to think of some other options. I would say you can do it, but I think you might be missing something, which is really nicely aligned with the Four of Cups. There might be a better way. So before saying yes, before doing it, research a little bit more. A reversed Hierophant also has much more nuanced questions. So if you were trying to understand why someone's doing something or what the next step is, I see a potential gatekeeper. This is someone who very much wants you to do it their way. So sometimes you have to acquiesce. Students, it can be a teacher that wants something written a certain way, and it may not be how it's going to be in the real world, but it's what's going to help you pass the class. There are certain legal requirements that we have to do in order to get to the next phase. So if there's something that's not worth fighting, maybe it's not worth it. Just do it, get the rubber stamp and move beyond it. This also represents an alternate path. So a High Priest or a Hierophant in reverse is saying, what if I create something and do it a different way? There are two keys here. The disciples are missing on this card, but it tells me there's two ways. There's two sides to everything. And this person is too stuck in the one way. There's another. So give yourself some time and explore. There might be an easier path, not necessarily a shortcut, but one with less resistance. So I think it's really good to research all the options in front of you. Okay? Keep an open mind. This is a very traditional card. Be very mindful of customs and traditions when you're working with new people. That is going to gain you a favorable response if you can meet them where they're at and you understand what they're expecting. All right? I hope you enjoyed this reading. I had a blast looking at 2 months. If you liked it, do me a favor, leave a comment or two below. Let me know what most resonated. Let me know what changes you enjoyed. Also, while you're at it, if you're brand new or if you've watched and never subscribed before, hit that subscribe button. We're close to a milestone. It would make my summer to get to it, so thank you in advance. Also hit the thumbs up, and there's a share button there too. Let someone know if you enjoyed this so that more people can see what I do here. You can also show some support by becoming a member or putting a sticker below with your comment. This I put directly back into the videos, and I get new hardware, get new cards, or do additional videos. So from my heart to yours, thank you so much. For news and information and updates, you should also follow me on at least one other social platform. All of the links are on my website, which is nicholasashbaugh.com, and you can follow me on social media at Nicholas Ashbaugh. My website is also the address for Blue Sky, so you can find me there as well. Thank you so much for being the best part of what I do here on YouTube. From my heart to yours, wishing you all the best. I'll see you soon.